beautiful people. Welcome to Weaves of Waves. I've got my baby pussy here. Isn't he lovely? Isn't he lovely? Let's just keep, there we go. Isn't he a happy boy? Oh, he wants his scratches. He's part Maine Coon. A small part. He's got a very fluffy tail and he's shedding everywhere. But, dear, there we go. I've got to pay him some attention. There we go. There we go. Good morning, all. How are we today? Yeah, life is strange and peculiar. And I'm thanking people for their comments. Thank you very much. I'm taking it all on board. I appreciate the advice. I shall look into various things. And one of the comments yesterday was like, because I was doing passing over of people. Yeah, it is a deep subject, and I think we all should think deeply, but not all the time. Okay, so in other words, light and fluffy is cool too. But death is not necessarily frightening unless, and a lot of the fear that is being looked at has been thrown at us these days is dying of a very painful disease. And I took that into meditation. I went down the steps into my subconscious mind, and yeah, I was triggered by something that was rather peculiar to me, because yeah, I'm a pagan and I believe in many gods, but I came across the law of grace. And this is something I must have read about a long time ago, but the grace is usually like the Christ consciousness, or you see, sometimes it's blurred into maybe the Tao. The Tao is like a life force flow, or the natural flow of things. So you flow with your own nature and the nature around you. But the law of grace was almost like the Christ consciousness, or yeah, compassionate Christ. So it was the grace of the Holy Spirit. Now, I had to go look it up, because it was like, hang on a minute, where am I getting these terms from? And it's a nice idea in a natural universe. Nature is raw and brutal, okay? But when things happen that are synchronistic, now you see, I'm feeling really pleased because I managed to create my own reality. I needed a change, so it's a matter of reaching out and dealing with the variables around you, and I can see them like threads now, and you can change your own reality. You've got, right, this is the problem, and this is the solution would be, and you give it, you can see all the potentials, and I can see them all in my mind and all the different threads, and it's like, what would you like? What do you want? So I put it out there that I'd like this, and guess what? It turned up. So I'm feeling smug about that, and I'm looking at the law of grace, the spirit of grace, and the fact that there is mercy and love in the universe. And I can't dispute that. I cannot dispute that. I cannot say that this is a raw, brutal, nasty universe. I don't think so. On the surface, if you are a realist and you just see the surface, then yeah, it's a brutal universe, and and it's sad, and you watch the news and there's hating going on, and there's violence, and there's deep sorrow and pain and fear and grief and anger and frustration. The list is endless. So to step back from that and find the law of grace, the power of grace, where you are a worthy, compassionate soul, and that you are worth love, life and happiness, is quite a concept, spirituality, but the spiritual books are full of it. I have a great set of books that compare comparative religions, and it's all the philosophy, but it also goes into the practices as well. So all of the major religions, it doesn't do paganism, because in my world everything is gods and goddesses and spirits and fairies and life and sort of life force, but we're talking about like a flow that goes through them all, and it's like a blessing. It's like a bit that lifts us all up, just lifts us all up. And I don't believe that when someone is suffering and dying on their sickbed of a disease, that they are not without that flow of grace. I think just like the body floods us with DMT as we pass over, I think that while we are dying on our sick beds, something flows through us, and you can call it Christ consciousness if you like. I'm not altogether comfortable with Christianity terms because it's been shoved down our throats. I was brought up, Church of England basically, and I was lucky because I avoided most of it. But yeah, I have read the Bible. I didn't get anything out of it. I have read the Quran. I didn't understand half of the stuff. I thought it was all bollocks basically. And also the Torah. Yeah, I tried to go through that too as one stage. I did enjoy the Course of Miracles, though I didn't read it all. Course of Miracles is a esoteric book that talks about pure Christianity when you go into Gnosticism and how you can find the mystics there. And the mystics don't find they didn't find Christ in doctrine, they found it within. So Christianity to me is like two different things. It's like this big powerful church that has fucked over people. And then if you look deeper, you've got God is love, which I think they're schizophrenic, they need medication. But yeah, the whole God is love thing is a beautiful concept. And why didn't they evolve that one? Because there's no power in it. Love will just let you do it. Surrender to it. And that again comes back to if you're dying of a disease, then you surrender to it and you let go and you let the body go. And I can't see how you would be in that much pain. Yeah, the body is a disgusting place sometimes, and if I imagine, I've had children, it's like, the body is doing its thing and you're not going to escape from that. You have to work out that the body and mind is different, is separate. And almost that separation would be a blissful thing. So what I'm trying to say is if you are dying on a disease, there would be a gentle separation as your body just shuts down and your mind just goes off free. And I believe that that is what they're talking about when they use the word grace. Because grace is mercy, grace is compassion, grace is love. And there is that flow, and I'm aware of it sometimes when I'm in sacred spaces on the land. So I can feel the throb of the earth, doomph, doomph, doomph. And some places hold you. I found places where I've just burst into tears on the land. Some, be it a forest or a beach somewhere, or usually a sort of a rocky sort of hillside. And the land is just holding you tight, and it's just like it's like a strong mum. A mother figure rocking you backwards and forwards saying, don't worry about it, it's okay. So I can see if that is the Christian terminology when they use the word grace. The Tao to me is a little impersonal. They say the Tao is like the Force. So I can see how the two are linked, because the Force, yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, light, dark, the duality is not less fixed in one or the other side. You blend. I am both light and dark. I am quite happy in that role. Some of my aspects are angry, mean and bitter. Some of my aspects are kind, graceful and sweet. No, not really sweet. But I like the light and dark. I'm not going to separate them out and go, right, I'm a light worker, because that denies the shadow. And you know what? I've seen so many people who go into love, light and happiness, and you look at them and you go, you can see the stain that affects them. I have my dark side, and I love my dark side. It gives me strength and power and anger and frustration, and I get to deal with all those because it all gets churned up inside. But I can blend it together that I'm not becoming toxic, which took a while. I'm not saying it didn't, but I still think that the universe is not out to get me. I don't believe. I think, yeah, okay, if I get mountain lion, I will be eaten. Fine. But at that point when I'm being eaten, my mind and body will separate. My body will have the DMT rush. My mind will separate by that energy of grace. Because everything dies. I see my cat torture small creatures. And I feel like, okay, I hope. Maybe it's just a belief. And I'm scared of beliefs a little bit. But I hope that in that moment, that small creature is already gone. The law of grace takes away, we don't need that amount of pain. And yeah, a lot of creatures die. We eat creatures. I'm not a vegetarian. And it's like, by the law of grace, I hope the law of grace is there when they depart. And when people are dying of very, very painful diseases, I hope that they can just separate from the body calmly and gracefully in a sort of a surrender. I know surrender and mercy are not necessarily good words for me, just like Christianity and Christ consciousness. I'm kind of like flinching a little at the words, but I still have to face them. I don't run away from them. So it's the law of grace, the power of grace is there, and it flows through us. It may be the force, you know, if you want to believe in the force, that's fine. It flows through us, and it helps us create our own reality, because on that I have total faith, because I've changed my reality. I've reached out and I said, right, I want this. I want a really, really wonderful man in my life. I want a good man. I want him to be strong. I want him to be capable. Yeah, I want someone that can hold space when I'm all over the place. And I put it out there a couple of years back, and last year he turned up. So did I create him or did he create me? It doesn't matter. But I created my own reality. I opened it up. This is what I wanted. And it goes all back to the sort of the New Age secret stuff. And that's, it's only half the information is there. Because you are dealing with other people's spheres of influence, other people's fields of energy. And you have to match your spin to the world, and I'm not very good at that. In fact, that's probably why I'm fairly useless at sort of dealing with the material world. But I'm aware now of like a web, and it's a field of potential, possibility. And if you put it out there in a firm way, ritualistic practices, meditation practices, it can be even a walking exercise. You go on a walk and you put your mind and you fix, and you put it out there. It might not come back to you in that form. I've come to recognize that it changes itself as you let it go, but it will come back to you. So yeah, we're dealing with energy fields here. We're not dealing with science that is touch, atoms and molecular structures. We are dealing with a force that you emit, and that is the bottom line here. And I believe that the force that you emit will not let you die in agony. Maybe the body is writhing in pain, but the mind has already left. And that's where my meditation took me today. I hope you enjoyed the pussycat in the front. He's sitting on the windowsill now. So I love you lots. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye now.